All right, here we go.
Yes.
Dallas, Austin, welcome to VladTV.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here, buddy.
Man, I feel like we have one of the great musical minds of our lifetime right now in the building.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to say of our generation because your music spans multiple generations.
Oh, I sure.
And
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
yeah, and it's still going. Definitely an honor to finally sit down and speak to you.
Oh, thank you, man. My pleasure.
Well, let's go ahead and start in the very beginning.
Okay.
So, you were born in Columbus, Georgia.
Yep.
Okay. And I guess you started picking up music really early.
Yeah, I did. My mom and dad, they had a place called a party club, right? And during segregation, all the artists like Tina Turner, James Brown, and all of them would have to perform and stay at the club because it was segregated. And then after I was born, then they had another nightclub, and I would go and just play, instruments all the time. And all the like local bands would play, and I would DJ in the daytime. At least think I was DJing back then. And then after that, my stepdad played for James Brown. He was a guitar player, Jimmy Nolan. So I would go on the road with them when I was little, like 5, 6, 7 years old, be on the road with the JBs. So I just had music kind of like all around me the whole time.
Okay. And I guess at 7 years old, you started actually, messing around with music yourself?
Yeah, I sent the demo off to Warner Brothers that they sent back and said they don't accept unsolicited material. So I was just like, I was happy it came back on Warner Brothers letterhead. I thought I actually made it at the time.
Okay. And at 7 years old, like what kind of instruments did you first start playing?
Casio. I'd asked my mom to give me a keyboard, and she was like, you're not going to keep up with a keyboard. So I was like, well, give me the small one, and every Christmas I keep it, give me a bigger one. So I started out with a Casio calculator, and then moved up to the next Casio, and then I got to the Rollins.
Okay. And were you taking piano lessons at the time, or were you just
No,
naturally?
I've never taken any lessons. I was just listening to Prince all the time and listening to like George Clinton and stuff like that. And I was just fascinated by the sounds. And I would go and play my keyboard along with the records so I could just learn how to play them and pretend like I was in the band. And that's how I really learned how to play.
Okay, and you were playing on drums early as well, right?
Yep, drums also. My brother was in a marching band, and then he also played drums. So it was like we had at about 8 or 9, I was playing in like a semi-family band because my brother was a drummer, and then I was a little keyboard player, and then we had like older guys playing guitar and singing. So I've always been in like local bands also.
Okay, and you just kept playing different instruments. Like I'm looking, you were playing the bass guitar, the harmonica, like everything.
Anything I could get my hands on. Plus it was I didn't like our living conditions at the time, so anything that would take me away from my brothers being in jail and all the other just hardships that was going on, it just started to wear me out. And I was just like, I needed an escape. So music became like, I just dove in every day after school and just would sit and play for hours and hours and hours.
So you would just pick up a brand new instrument and you just figured out how to play it just naturally.
I figured out, I play along with Stevie Wonder, or play along with whoever like had the instrument. I remember when Dove's Cross Solo came out from Prince, I must have learned that like 30,000 times. I would just play that all day, every day. I'd try to figure it out and just stop the thing, go back, figure it out, stop it and go back, until I figured out how to play it.
Okay, so you were just a musical prodigy, basically.
I was just, man, I don't even know what happened. I couldn't do anything else. I sucked at basketball or football. So music was my thing, man. Music and just trying to play it and write it and see how I could cram 3 minutes of something clever into a song.
You said that you were trying to escape your living conditions at the time. Was it kind of a rough environment growing up?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at first, we thought we lived in suburbs, so to speak, and then my father passed, and we moved, my mom owned the restaurant, so we moved downtown and lived next door to the restaurant, and it was just, rats running across the floor, and people fighting all the time, and my brothers are in jail, and so it's like going to visit people in jail, and it was just like, and that became my normal. That became my normal existence, and so it was all those trying times, and then every day after school, I would just shut my door and play, just try to play myself out of there.
Okay, so your brothers were getting locked up. Your mom was struggling
Yep.
to support. How many kids?
There's 3 of us.
3 of us. 3 of you. Okay. What did you personally? What was the hardest thing that you went through during that time personally?
I mean, the hardest thing for me was actually just watching my mom cry all the time because they were locked up, and us going back and forth to, going back and forth to jail and prisons every week, and it was just, and just watching her deal with it was even harder than me dealing with it because I was young, and I was like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this no more. I'm not going no more. But she's like, oh, those are my sons. That's your brother. You have to go do it. You have to go do it. And so I just got tired of seeing her cry all the time and see her, sitting there upset, and then us not really having the money to do anything else about it. I knew I couldn't go into what they were doing because then I'd just end up in trouble.
Okay, what were your brothers getting locked up for?
Trafficking coke. Trafficking coke, robbing banks, stealing, like everything possible. Because I don't think my brothers believed we didn't have any money. And so they just made it like we had money. And they just, a lot of those instances would just get them in trouble time and time and time and time and time and time again. And it wasn't until really when I started to kind of make it, like when I remember when Another Bad Creation was out, and Boys the Men, my brother, they were locked up then. So they would hear about, oh man, my friends in jail said you made this record. And I'm like, yeah, bro. But it wasn't until after I kind of started being successful that calmed down.
Okay, well, I mean, trafficking coke, you hear that pretty often, but robbing a bank is something else. Like, when you really convince yourself that robbing a bank is a good idea,
yeah,
and you're going to get away with it,
yeah,
you're pretty far gone down that path.
Pretty far gone, and I think it was coming up. We came up around a lot of hustlers, like my dad being in the nightclub business and stuff. It was always his guys and pimps, politicians, and hustlers around. And I think that they thought we had more than what we had. And other than that, it was just about the hustle. And I think the hustle sometimes can it makes you think you can get away with everything, And that wasn't the case.
Okay. And how did you yourself avoid all that?
I just avoided it through music and through, like, anytime I felt like I was kind of going down that road, because, the only thing you go down the road for is because you want a new jacket or you want some more polo shirts or you want some, and I would just, like, see how much my mom was dealing with it, and I just, it just kept me away. I just wanted to get us out of there, and I felt like music was my only outlet to get us out of Columbus, Georgia.